Okay. Hello everyone. Are there any doubts regarding the previous task?
No, sir.
Others, do you have any doubts? Have you guys submitted the previous task? I'm seeing very less submissions in the classroom. Yes. While that if you are having no doubts. If there are doubts, then ask please. For getting the internship certificate, submissions is compulsory. Yes. Do you have any doubts? Then last.
No, sir.
Okay. Is my screen visible?
Yes, sir.
So we'll start with our today's activity. So in yesterday's task, in day before yesterday's task, we have seen how to enable the bottom navigation and how to change some fragments here, right? Using the frame layout. Now what we will do is we will add our drawer navigations also in the same layout, and we will make our drawer navigation and our bottom navigation to coordinate with each other. Let's say if I'm having three fragments here as the home, about, and the history, and I will add these same options in the drawer navigation here. And when I click on any of the navigations from either from my bottom navigation or from a drawer navigation, the same fragment should be disabled, should be shown here in my frame layout, and also the same item should be selected on my bottom navigation, right? So for that, what I'm going to need is, first I need an custom app bar here to add the toggle features. So what I'll do is, in this constraint layout, same constraint layout, I will add one. You can see this is the app bar layout, and width as match parent and wrap content as the height. This. Then what I will do is, in this app bar, I will add one toolbar. Now, while using the toolbar, you can see there are two options of the toolbar. One is Android X dot appcombat.widget dot toolbar, and this is the common Android toolbar. Now, using which one you should use is you should use this one, the Android X dot appcombat.widget toolbar, or else you will get many errors. Use that Android X toolbar. Then in here we will add as a pop-up theme menu, which will be theme. You can go in here in your resource file, in your values, and in the theme section you can get this file, themes.xml. In this XML you can see my style name is, which is the main style, this name. I want this name, same name, right? In my pop-up theme, just add here style. This one you should add at the rate style slash theme dot bottom. Then this is done. Then you have to constrain this app bar layout. We want it at the top, so I'll only give the top, start, and the end constraint here. Now, the mainly for using the drawer layout, we will need an drawer layout. Sorry, we to mainly use the drawer navigation, we need a drawer layout, which will be our main layout. Now you can see in this file, I am having my main layout as my constraint layout. But for using the drawer layout, we need a drawer layout only for our main layout. We can use this, the drawer layout, and we can make sure. And in this afterwards, you can see now my drawer layout is taking the whole space and nothing is visible here, right? My app bar, my text, and my linear layout, nothing is visible. So what you can do is you can create on another constraint layout here. the match parent and match parent. And in this constraint layout, you can add all these things which you have created earlier. Now you can see the other things also are visible. Our app bar, our bottom navigation, and our text view. Now this is done. We have added one drawer layout. Then we have to add one drawer navigation here. So while adding one drawer navigation, you have to be careful that your constraint layout should be your navigation, which will be added navigation view. This should be at the bottom of the constraint layout. If you add this before your constraint layout, what will happen is this will be behind of your constraint layout and it will not be activated on your screen. If you want to click on something from your navigation view, it will not happen because your constraint layout will be on the top of your navigation view. So what you have to do, you have to add first the constraint layout, then afterwards you have to add this navigation view. Then in this field as the wrap content and the height also wrap content, and we should add one menu here which we have created earlier. You can see this menu, the same menu we are using here. And also we should add a gravity here, layout gravity start. Now you can see it is here in the start section. I make it as a match parent, so it can take the whole screen. Then when our menu is done and our gravity is done, which is now can see, let me show you. Now you can see here is my drawer navigation view, which is not in my existing main layout. We'll add one toggling feature to get it on my view. What I will do is next thing, we want some toggling features, then we have to add some strings here as the open and close. Here you can find this. Go in your resource file here. In resource file, you can get this file as the values. In this values file, you have one strings.xml. Go there and just add two strings here. First string will be named as open and the text as the open, same. The second string as close. The text is also closed. Now once it is done, we have to give some ID to our navigation views and our toolbars. The first ID I will give is to my drawer layout. I will give it ID as the drawer. Next one, I need an ID to my toolbar. Toolbar. Then I need one ID here. Nav. Now you can see I have created one custom app bar. Then I have to remove my default app bar, which will I get default. You can for removing your default app bar, you can go here in the theme section in the themes.xml. You can see there is a name as the theme.bottom, which will be bottom as your file name. Then in this parent section, you are getting this theme.material components daylight. Daylight means it will be applied both as the dark UI and the light UI. If you want to use only the light UI, you can change this to the light. And you can see there is an app bar, action bar. You can see this dark action bar. You have to delete that and just need to add no action bar. Okay, this will remove your default app bar and you can use your toolbar here now. Now the next thing, I want to bind the views here. First I will add my drawer layout. Then I will add my toolbar. Then next thing what I need, yes, this is oh yeah, also we need our navigation view. Nav view. Then once this is done, now if I run my app, Just taking a lot of time. Now you can see I have added one toolbar here, which is not our default toolbar. Now we have to add some functionality in my toolbar that when I click on the toggle button, I should get my drawer navigation here, right? So first thing we want to add the toggle feature here. So what I will do is set support action bar. In this action bar, you have to pass your toolbar. Okay. Once you have passed your toolbar, the next thing you want to do is this action bar toggle, drawer toggle. This will create a toggling feature in the new action bar toggle feature. In this, you have to send some argument list. The first argument should be your context, which is my main activity dot this. When I pass my context, then I have to pass my drawer layout. You can see there is showing it is showing me a drawer layout. Then I'll pass my drawer layout. The next thing I need is the toolbar. We should pass our toolbar here. The next thing we need, sorry, here. Yes, here we should need to pass our strings which we have created just now. You can see here I have created two strings as the open and to close. We have to pass those strings here. So you can how can access the strings is r dot string dot your id which you have given to your string. I have given as the open, then r dot string dot close. Okay, now the toggling feature is done. Now we have to add this toggling to our drawer layout. So what you can do is drawer layout dot add drawer listener. In this you can pass your toggle, and then you can this toggle dot sync state. And now once it is done, let me show you what will happen here. Now you can see I have one button which is working just fine for the toggling feature, and also in my drawer navigation I'm getting the menu options, right? But now you can see if I hit some of them, nothing is happening. So now we have to add some click listeners to this item. The same way which we have did for our bottom navigation, we will do the same way. I will come here and my navigation view dot set navigated item select listener, and in this you can see we are getting the same type of layout which we have got in our bottom navigation. We will make the return as true, and then we will start a fragment transaction, get support transaction, dot begin transaction. Now I will pass on switch statement here. In the switch, I need item dot get item ID, which will provide me the ID of my item. Then the case, the first case will be our home ID. And in this, I want to start my transaction dot replace order type dot content, which was our frame layout. In this, the new home fragment. Okay, our first case is done. Then just add the break statement here. The second case, p dot history. Then I will start the transaction. And history timing. Then the third case, about, then I will start the transaction. I'll add the break. I'm also not added the break here. And once this is all done, I'll add start my transaction as transaction.commit. Okay, the same way which we did in our bottom navigation. Now let's check this. Now you can see if I hit this toggle feature, I'm getting this option, and if I hit on the history, now you can see there are two issues now. The first issue is my drawer layout is not closing by itself. I have to close it by manually, but my fragment is changing here. I'm able to change the fragments here, you can see. But the first issue is the issue of closing the drawer navigation. And the next issue is if let's say select the about fragment, Then you can see my bottom navigation is not updated here. It is still showing the home fragment, but here the fragment is about fragment. So what you can do is to update it was the first thing we will solve this issue, which is the closing issue of the drawer layout. What you can do is you can just come here, you can add your drawer layout dot close drawer, and in this you to pass some gravity, which will be our gravity combat dot start. The same gravity which we have provided at the beginning. So now if we check our app again, now if I just select any one of it, the drawer layout is closing automatically. See, it is working. Now the second issue is updating our bottom navigation. Now you can see if I'm here in my history fragment, it is showing me still the home fragment, right? So what you can do, you can just come here in the case sections and just add your bottom navigation dot set selected item, and you have to just pass the same ID of your item. Same here. Same thing here. And if I run my app again, now if I select anything from my drawer navigation, let's say I'm selecting the history fragment is showing here, and also my bottom navigation is now updated. If I select about, then you can see my bottom navigation also coordinating with my drawer navigation. So this was the code for creating one drawer navigation. Is this clear? Yes. Should I repeat once again?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now the first thing we'll have to create one layout for our drawer navigation. First thing you need to know is that for using the drawer navigation, your main layout should be your drawer layout. For using the drawer navigation, your main layout should be your drawer layout. Then in this drawer layout, what I'm doing is, you can see here, in this drawer layout, I have first item as my constraint layout and the second as the nav view, which was our navigation view. Now you can see I am adding my navigation view after the constraint layout, because while using the app, if I'm using this, then if my constructor layout is at the bottom of the navigation view, what will happen is, if when I open this, still it is showing me the navigation view, but what will happen is in the background, the constraint layout will be on top of it. So if the constraint layout is on top of your navigation view, you can't set the on-click listeners here to the items, right? So what you have to do is, you have to use your navigation view after your constraint layout. And in the constraint layout, what I'm doing is, I'm in the constraint layout. First, I'm adding one linear layout to create my bottom navigation view and my text view. Yes, the next thing is, after my this is my frame layout to replace my fragments in this. Then I'm creating one custom app bar, because in the default app bar we don't get this feature of the toggle feature. So we have to create one custom app bar. So what I'm doing is, first thing you need to remove your custom app bar, sorry, your default app bar. You have to just go in your themes.xml file, and in this you have to specify as the no action bar. Once you have specified this, your default app bar will be deleted. Then sorry, yeah, then you have to add one app bar here, and in this app bar you have to pass one toolbar. In the toolbar you have to give one id to it. Then the pop-up theme, as the same theme you are getting from here, you have to pass that theme. Then once your app bar is set up, you have to add one navigation view here. In this navigation view, I am using the same menu item. If you want to use some other menu items for your drawer navigation and other menu items for your bottom navigation, you can use this. You can create one another menu option and you can pass here, but I'm using the same here. So I'm passing the same menu items here. Then I'm setting the gravity as start, because if I'm setting the gravity as start, it will go behind my screen, and when I click on the toggling feature, it will come in front of the screen. By default, I don't want to show my drawer layout here on my screen, so I'm setting the gravity as start. So once your layout is done, the next thing you want to do is, you want to add some toggle strings here. go in your strings.xml file, and here add these two strings. One will be as the open and one will be as the close, and you have to give the name here to use it in your Java file. Then once that is done, come back to your Java file. In here, you have to first bind the views of your drawer layout toolbar and your navigation view, and then you have to create one custom to app bar. Then you have to use this property for setting your toolbar here. You can use this set support action bar, and you have to pass your toolbar here. Then you have to add some toggling feature. So why you have to use this method action drawer toggle, and in this when you create a new action drawer toggle, you have to pass these things. The first thing is your context. Yes, the next thing is your drawer layout. The next thing is your toolbar. The next thing is your string which you have created for the open and the close. This both string you have to pass here. Once this is done, you have to add this toggle feature to your drawer layout. You can see drawer layout dot drawer listener. In your to pass the toggle here, and then you have to sync the state. So once it is done, your toggling feature will be enabled. When your toggling feature is enabled, you have to set some item listeners on your navigation view. Once you have set this item listener, you will get the item from here. You have to take that item dot get item id. Then you can set up some cases here. If the case is as home id, then you have to start the transaction and replace your frame layout to the home fragment. If your item is as history, you have to replace your frame layout as history, and the same thing here for the about. Then there was the two issues. For the first issue was the it was not closing by itself. We have to close the drawer layout manually. So what you can do to close it automatically, once your transaction is completed, you have to add this section here, drawer layout dot close drawer, and the same gravity which you have passed in our XML file, you have to set that gravity again. So once that is done, it will automatically close your drawer layout. Then the next issue was it was not coordinating with our the bottom navigation. So what you can do is you can just add this here bottom navigation dot set item selected listener as, and you have to pass the item which we want to set as selected. Yes, we are passing here the items which we want to set. So once this is done, your bottom navigation and your drawer navigation will coordinate with each other. Now you can say yes. Are there any doubts?
No, sir.
Yes, others, please talk. Okay. If there are no doubts, please submit your task on the regular basis. I'm not seeing with that much of submissions in the classroom. Okay. And then there is another feature you can use to make your code easy. Now you can say whenever I'm binding some views from my XML layout, I have to use this find view by ID. Right? This was the method which you have used before. Now they are few months back they have updated their code. Now you have some other features like binding feature which you can use. You can just come in your Gradle module level Gradle, and in this you can just type build features, and in this curly braces you can just type view binding as true. No semicolon here, only just you have to mention the build features, and in this you can pass the view binding as a true and sync your project. I'm getting there. Yeah, spelling is long here. This build feature. You can see now the Gradle sync is finished. Now what you can do is come back to your activity. In this here top section, just type activity main binding. You will get this option. Then you have to specify on binding name. Then after that, you can after your super class here, you can just come here binding is equal to activity main binding dot inflate get layout inflator. Okay, first thing you have to pass the same as your activity main binding dot inflate. In this inflate, you have to mention the get layout inflator. Just give the semicolon here, and in this set content view, you can now just use this binding dot get root. So once you have added these three lines in your code, Now you don't need to use this find view by ID. You can directly use the ID from your XML layout. If I want my drawer layout, just I can do is binding dot drawer. Now you can see this is the same ID which I given in my XML layout. Now afterwards you can use anything from here. If you want to set on click listener, just type set on click listener on it. It will give you the same answer, same methods which we are getting from the find view by ID. You can replace this whole thing by using the binding feature. So we don't need to add all the view binds by our own. Just you have to mention these 3 lines and you can use all your XML IDs directly in your Java file. Yes. Yes, are there any doubts?
No, sir.
So if there are no doubts, submit your task on regular basis and we'll end this meeting. Yes.
Okay, sir.
Thank you.